I was reborn, returning to the first semester of my third year of high school. In that year, I was Wuhi, a person who only focused on studying the classics and sages. Therefore, at that time, I still didn't know that our school had a school bully whom no one dared to provoke, who fought fiercely and had a terrible temper. His name was Su Yang, and he would later become my direct superior. No matter how much time passed, even now, I still can't figure out why Su Yang saved me. He should have hated me very much. Otherwise, after I became his assistant, why did he always bully me so much and always find fault with my work, practically making things difficult for me? But he did save me, that's a fact. Under the rubble of 10,000 feet, I survived in his arms. I owed him a life. He should have always been revered by everyone, he should have lived a good life, but his life stopped at 27 years old. I felt that I absolutely had to repay his kindness. This life was too heavy, weighing on me for more than half my life. The longer I lived, the more uneasy I felt in my heart. I felt it shouldn't be this way. So much so that later, until I died, I still thought of him, day and night during my existence. Therefore, when Dad called me to get up with a stern face, I was stunned for a long time. I had actually been reborn. This must be heaven, seeing my obsession was too deep, giving me a chance to repay my kindness. I looked at Dad, who deliberately put on a stern face, and my eyes reddened. His voice was still as stiff and ungentle as in my memory. But I knew he loved me very much. In my previous life, I was trapped under the rubble. Before rescue arrived, Dad disregarded all warnings and resolutely stayed in the dangerous area with aftershocks, digging with his bare hands for a long time. A man who was usually so serious, with red eyes, dug while crying, digging until his hands bled, but he didn't stop. It was truly wonderful to see them again, because I had been alone for too long. When I stood at the school gate holding an umbrella, I breathed a sigh of relief, thinking to myself, what would 17-year-old Su Yang look like? He should still be a big shot, after all, he would later become the chairman of Su Group. I thought of Su Yang's scowling face again and couldn't help but laugh. No matter how difficult it is, 17-year-old Su Yang, I'm coming to get to know you. The rain had been falling continuously since morning, though not as heavily as it had been earlier, just a light drizzle. When school ended at noon, I held my pink parasol against the rain and said to my best friend, "Dao Dao, I'm going to find Su Yang. You go eat by yourself." Her face was full of shock, feeling that my rebellion had come a bit too suddenly. She was worried about me, so she also opened her own enormous black umbrella and followed beside me. I was very serious about everything I did, even walking. I held my umbrella, listening to the sound of the rain, slowly searching for Su Yang along the way, and finally stopped at the entrance of an alley. The alley was very narrow, the ground uneven and bumpy due to the rain, and inside, a dark mass of people stood. From the alley entrance, one could hear the groans of someone being beaten. It was called a gang fight, but it looked more like a one-sided assault. Several boys wearing our school uniforms stood idly around, 7 or 8 people lay on the ground, and the most conspicuous teenager in the middle, with indifferent eyes, looked at the person beneath his feet. One hand held a cigarette, the other grabbed the person's hair, forcing him to look at him. The teenager said, "It's raining today and I'm in a terrible mood. You motherfucker, you still had the nerve to bump into me. Your life was given to you by your mother, it's very valuable, do you know that?" As he spoke, he stepped on the person's toes on the ground, pressing down even harder. My heart trembled again and again. I saw it very clearly. That teenager was Su Yang. My best friend had long been scared stiff. Just as she tried to shakily pull me away, I had already walked over, holding my pink umbrella. Best friend? Su Yang kicked the person on the ground again and again. No matter how the person on the ground begged for mercy, each kick was vicious, as if he was venting something. Suddenly, he felt the rain falling on his head stop. He looked up, and it was a pink umbrella. I said with a serious expression, "Classmate, fighting in the rain makes it easy to catch a cold." The group of boys following Su Yang watched from the side, stunned by my sudden appearance from who knows where. Su Yang's mood was always particularly bad on rainy days, and no one knew the reason for this. And today, this rain seemed like it would never end. After the downpour, what remained was a fine, continuous drizzle, damp and annoying. Su Yang had been irritable all morning. I stood on tiptoe and held the umbrella over his head. The boys beside Su Yang tried to pull me away, afraid I would get hit. because they knew that Su Yang, when angry, was truly terrifying. Just when everyone dared not make a sound, Su Yang, who had originally been full of hostility, instinctively extinguished the cigarette in his hand and incidentally pulled up his loose, sagging school uniform, turning his body slightly, as if to block the person on the ground so I couldn't see. Everyone, damn, what's going on, best friend? Su Yang and I met each other's gaze, but the next second Su Yang averted his eyes, his voice carrying impatience. Something wrong? I looked at his familiar gaze, the corners of my mouth curving slightly. In my previous life, Su Yang had also used such a gaze when we first met. That day, I was dressed in office attire. It was my first day reporting for duty. I held documents and was pushed into the office. I heard that he was in a particularly bad mood that day. His subordinates hadn't managed to secure the project he wanted, and he had thrown a huge fit. Everyone was waiting for me to be scolded out, to watch my spectacle. So I feigned composure, smiled at him, and greeted him. "Hello, Chairman Su, I'm your new special assistant." I saw it very clearly. He who was about to erupt in anger when he looked up and saw me, a look of surprise surged in his eyes, and then he was stunned, instinctively beginning to tidy his appearance. At that time, I thought to myself, he's a boss who cares about his image. However, the next second, the man in front of me spoke. "You becoming my assistant." There was a hint of mockery in his tone. And in this life, in a different place, at a different age, 17-year-old Su Yang's gaze was surprisingly no different from 26-year-old Su Yang's. I looked up at him. "I saw you fighting." Su Yang raised an eyebrow, his tone mocking. "What, the good student has started to manage fights now?" Hearing this, I was startled for a moment, then curved my lips into a smile. It really was exactly like the previous life. Still that sudden hostility. I didn't speak, just looked at him with a smile in my eyes as if my gaze could reach nothing but him. Su Yang lowered his eyes to look at me, then suddenly irritably ruffled his own hair. After that, he reached out and gripped the back of my head, bending down to get close to me, face to face. "Either be a good student or don't come and provoke me. What, playing hard to get, but I'm not interested in you right now." "Me? Can someone tell me what happened?" Why do I feel like something happened between me and Su Yang? But right now, I don't even know him yet. I was speechless, biting my lower lip tightly, my eyes fixed on his beautiful collarbone, carefully pondering his words just now. Su Yang chuckled coldly. "What mute?" I softly accused. "I don't even know what you're talking about." Su Yang's smile turned cold. "Then damn well think about it," he said, letting go of me, turning sideways and walking around me, heading out of the alley. This fight ended just like that, suddenly and unexpectedly for everyone, starting unilaterally by Su Yang and ending unilaterally by Su Yang. I stood frozen in place. When Su Yang and his group reached the alley entrance, I finally reacted. I hurried over and handed my pink umbrella to Su Yang. Su Yang glanced at me, but didn't take it. "We have two," I said, my tone very serious. Su Yang couldn't help but laugh. "You want me to hold a pink umbrella?" I listened and felt he had a point. It was my fault for not thinking it through. I thought for a moment, then added, "My classmate's umbrella is black and very big." My best friend, who was trying her best to hide herself and minimize her presence, thought, "I don't use an umbrella on rainy days." Don't use an umbrella. Why would someone not use an umbrella on a rainy day? Are they sick? Is it because you think it's cool? Actually, I was about to earnestly advise him that what they considered cool at this age could easily lead to getting sick later on. A boy beside him laughed and interrupted. "Ha ha ha, damn, that's too funny. Classmate, you don't need to be so serious. Our brother Yang, ha ha ha, he doesn't think it's cool, this is just his habit." Did Yang have this habit? But he clearly loved it most when I held an umbrella for him in his previous life. The boy was about to say something else when Yang kicked him, opening his mouth impatiently. "Are you going or not?" The boy didn't dare to utter a sound and immediately followed Yang away. I stammered, speechless, not knowing why he was angry again. He was so fierce. Su Yang's hostility towards me made me reevaluate my path of repaying kindness. Therefore, I didn't go looking for him for several days, because he seemed to dislike me a bit right now. For the first monthly exam after my rebirth, I submitted a blank paper, because these questions, for the current me, were too unfamiliar. Of course, it wasn't that I didn't know a single one, it's just that I had always been the top student in the school, and the more I did, the more mistakes I made. I was afraid someone would notice my abnormality, so I simply left no room for error. As soon as the exam ended, The whole school knew that I, the top student, had submitted a blank paper. The homeroom teacher called me into the office and seriously asked me why I submitted a blank paper. I stammered. I felt this test paper was too simple. I didn't want to do it. After hearing this, the teacher actually had an expression of approval, but in the end, she still informed me, no next time. 1 month's time was enough for me to catch up on the missed lessons. Therefore, for the second monthly exam, I entered the last examination room for the first time. Almost everyone here was an idler. When I walked in, the originally noisy examination room instantly quieted down. Many gazes converged on me. I braced myself and found my seat, sitting down. Second to last, I submitted a blank paper and I'm not last. Could it be that writing my name still earned me a point of goodwill? As soon as I sat down, a male student next to me kicked my chair with his foot. "Hey, remember to spread out your test paper later." I glanced at him, sat in my seat, and ignored him. He probably felt that my behavior made him lose face, so he stood up and kicked my desk away with one foot. My stationery fell to the ground, making a loud clatter. "I'm talking to you, you motherfucker, are you listening?" He hadn't finished speaking when he was kicked to the ground. The male student didn't see who it was and roared, "Who the hell kicked?" "Your old man." Su Yang's voice was cold, and as soon as he remembered, the male student was kicked hard to the ground again. How to put it, evil people still need evil people to deal with. The young Su Yang was really handsome. Immediately, my eyes looking at Su Yang were practically filled with stars. As soon as the male student saw it was Su Yang, his face was full of shock. He couldn't understand why Su Yang, who never participated in exams, suddenly came to take the exam this time. "Yang, brother Yang?" Su Yang glanced in my direction, then shifted his gaze to the male student, scanning him up and down as if looking at trash. "Scram, don't offend my eyes." The male student didn't dare to stay any longer. He stood up, scrambled to his feet, and ran. I sat in my seat, smiling at Su Yang. Su Yang said nothing, just walked straight over. Under everyone's strange gazes, he silently moved my desk back to its original spot. When he picked up my stationery and placed it on my desk, I stared blankly at his slender fingers. "You're so capable with me, but you become mute when facing others." This was full of sarcasm. I didn't speak, just looked up at him, our eyes meeting. He awkwardly turned his face away, hands in his pockets, and spoke with a hint of threat. "Study hard for the exam. Don't let me see you in this exam room again next time." "Why?" I tugged at the corner of his shirt, asking very seriously. I saw a flicker of unnaturalness in his eyes. Just as I was about to see it clearly, I heard his low voice, "Seeing you is annoying." Then he turned around, sat behind me, and fell asleep. What an awkward child. I couldn't help but smile and call out to him, "Classmate Su Yang?" He didn't lift his head, continuing to lie prone, but he patiently replied, "Speak. Thank you." After the rain, the air was truly fresh and cool, making me feel a sense of new life for all things, very real. I carried my backpack, my hands pulling on the 2 straps of the backpack, walking slowly, one step after another, each step very serious. The area near First High School hasn't developed yet, but I know that in a few years, this place will rapidly develop because of Sue's group. The small path I'm walking on will become a bustling main road. In my previous life, I actually hated walking this path on rainy days because my little white shoes would get mud stains. I once saw the night view of this place from Su Yang's office, which was on the top floor of Sue's group. At that time, I thought 10,000 twinkling lights were nothing more than this. Su Yang told me that if I walked that path now, my shoes wouldn't get muddy anymore. Returning after rebirth, I looked at the mud on my little white shoes, feeling slightly dazed. To express my gratitude, I decided to bring him breakfast. When I arrived at his spot, Su Yang hadn't arrived yet. I found his desk to be truly clean. The only book was used to prop up a table leg. In the drawer were a game console and several packs of cigarettes. I didn't recognize the cards, but they definitely weren't cheap. I didn't know Su Yang smoked. In my previous life, he never smoked in front of me. As his assistant, I really didn't know him well. I looked for a pen, wanting to write a sticky note to let him know I had been there, but I searched and just couldn't find a single pen. So I had to pull open my pink backpack, open my pencil case, and take out a neutral pen for sketching. Just as I was writing, a shadow fell over my head. Su Yang stood behind me, tapping the desk with his hand, then resting his arm beside me. "Something wrong?" His hot breath brushed against the top of my head. I didn't dare to make the slightest movement. This posture was extremely similar to how he would hold me in his arms. Speak. His breath lingered in my hair, swirling around and tangling my thoughts. I came to bring you breakfast. Su Yang glanced at the egg in my hand. His eyes were an endless black, showing no discernible emotion. He didn't say anything, his eyes silently looking at my insulated egg container. A long time passed, and I couldn't help but speak. You don't like it, do you? I'm sorry, I'll take it away immediately, then don't eat it. No need to take it away. Su Yang suddenly spoke, his voice very low. He took the lunchbox from my hand and sat down in his seat, quietly eating. All along the way, I had kept the eggs in a pink insulated box so they were still warm. He ate very seriously. I was very happy when I left, so I didn't know that Su Yang hadn't even finished eating the 2 eggs when red rashes appeared on his face, but he didn't stop. It turned out that he was allergic to eggs, and people around him advised him not to eat them. But Su Yang didn't say anything, finished eating the eggs, and then lay down at the school infirmary for an entire afternoon, with the note I had written tucked in his pocket. He was allergic, and I didn't know it at all. But in my previous life, when I was his special assistant, I also gave him eggs, and he ate them every single time. I couldn't help but wonder in his previous life, with what kind of feelings did Su Yang eat the eggs I gave him? I couldn't figure it out. And this time, Su Yang also didn't tell me, which led to me giving him eggs again the next day. The next day, when I went to deliver breakfast again, Su Yang was already sitting in his seat. I didn't know how long he had been sitting there. Student Su Yang, I looked at him happily, my voice filled with surprise. Su Yang raised his head, his dark eyes filled with agitated emotions. I curved my lips, walking toward Su Yang, my arms holding a light green lunchbox and a light pink thermos. I didn't expect you to be here, Student Su Yang, I brought you breakfast. Su Yang looked at me, his expression seemingly indifferent. Good student, do you know what you are doing right now? I know I'm bringing you breakfast. Su Yang stared intently. You are getting involved with a bad student like me. What kind of bad student? Fighting, smoking and drinking, idle, committing all sorts of evil, scum of society. I tilted my head, thinking seriously. Su Yang suddenly felt extremely nervous inside, but he forced it down. Indeed very bad, but bad students also need to eat breakfast, you still need to grow. Why are you managing me? Su Yang's voice was low and slow. I froze, our eyes meeting. Su Yang's hands, tucked in his pockets, trembled again. Suddenly, he said for no reason, I don't like eating eggs. His tone contained a very hard-to-detect stubbornness. I was a bit embarrassed. What to do? I still brought eggs today. I poked the untouched food in front of him, hugging the lunchbox in my arms even tighter. Su Yang understood. Still eggs? I nodded shyly, apologizing. I'm so sorry, I didn't know you don't like eggs. Next time I absolutely won't bring you eggs again. Otherwise, don't eat this today, I'll go buy you something else. Saying that, I wanted to turn around with the lunchbox and go out to buy him breakfast again. Before I could take a step, Su Yang reached out and pulled my backpack strap. I turned my head to look at him. Su Yang awkwardly turned his head away. Today can be an exception, no need to waste. I smiled widely, placing the lunchbox and thermos I was holding onto Su Yang's desk and opened them for him. Su Yang looked at the pink thermos on the table. Is this your thermos? My small face flushed. Thinking Su Yang was being disgusted, I quickly explained. I'm so sorry, I couldn't find many thermoses at my house, so I could only use my thermos. But don't worry, I've washed it many times. Su Yang looked at the thermos with dark eyes and replied. Su Yang took out the pink lunchbox from the drawer and handed it to me, opening his mouth to say, Are you coming again tomorrow? Yes. I took the lunchbox and exclaimed, It's so clean. I saw Su Yang trying his best to control the corners of his mouth from turning up, and he said indifferently, just a quick wash. I was very satisfied with this. This lunchbox could be described as sparkling clean. After I finished speaking, I checked the time and said softly, I'm leaving. Carrying my backpack, I walked to the door, thought for a moment, then turned back. Student Su Yang, I'm not good student. I have a name, I'm called Yu-He. You as in feather, he as in grain. Next time, don't call me good student. Having said that, I left without waiting for Su Yang's reply. Su Yang waited until he could no longer hear my footsteps before he looked up at the door, his gaze deep, those peach blossom eyes holding a stubbornness he found hard to conceal. He meticulously peeled off something, frequently scratching his neck, where some red spots had appeared. But he didn't seem to mind, just sipping the soy milk in small mouthfuls, the light shining on his face. He seemed to be very careful with that thermos, his eyes even carrying a hint of reverence. Was that reverence? I didn't expect Su Yang to bring the thermos up to me. When he appeared at the door of Class 1 holding the pink thermos, someone gasped, and then the Class 1 classroom became so quiet that even breathing was very light. At this moment, the students of Class 1 had only one question. Heavens, what wind blew this guy here? Su Yang suddenly took a step, leaving the classroom door and walking towards the window by the corridor. Finally, he stopped by the window next to my seat. The people in Class 1 gasped again. He came to find? My best friend and I were still whispering about something, not paying any attention to the unusual atmosphere in the classroom. A tapping sound came from the window beside me. I looked up and saw him, casually leaning through the window. My eyes curved, and I opened my mouth, but no sound came out. But Su Yang understood. I was asking him why he came. Su Yang raised his hand and opened the window from the outside. His school uniform was never worn properly. The collar buttons were undone very wide, revealing his delicate collarbone, exuding a sense of forbidden allure. The muscle lines under his school uniform were taut, and the curves of his spinal muscles were smooth. I averted my gaze, hurriedly lowered my head to read my book, silently reciting the core socialist values. Heavens, what a sin, he's still just a child. Su Yang saw that I was almost burying my head in the desk, clearly not wanting to respond to him. He chuckled softly, with a hint of mischief, and tapped my desk. Good student pretending not to see me? I looked up and met his eyes. It's you, he. Su Yang lazily leaned against the windowsill with a hint of languor. This old man just likes to call you that. I tilted my small face up to look at him, feeling somewhat helpless at his domineering attitude, and quietly said, Little child. Su Yang didn't hear clearly, only my soft voice, which made his heart itch. What did you say? I said you can call me whatever you want, as long as you like it. I was still timid. I noticed the red rash on Su Yang's neck, pointed at his neck, and silently asked him what was wrong. Su Yang looked indifferent. Ate something I shouldn't have, an allergy. Small matter, it'll be fine in a bit. I pressed him, and he reluctantly told me it was eggs. The eggs I gave him made him allergic. I immediately panicked. Why didn't you tell me? His eyes flickered. I only found out after eating them. When he said that, I believed him at the time, thinking, then I'll never bring him eggs again. Su Yang, did you come up to find me for something? I held my pen, asking gently and softly. Su Yang's gaze swept over the pen, a pink stitch. When he spoke again, his eyes were tinged with a very faint smile. Came up to handle some things, and it was on the way, so I brought you a cup of warm water. Saying that, he passed the pink thermos in his hand through the window and placed it on my desk. My eyes were dazzled by Su Yang's slender fingers, and I stared blankly at the thermos on the desk. He actually brought me warm water. Su Yang watched me stare at the thermos without speaking and without any intention of drinking. He looked at my parched lips, then suddenly rubbed his hair in annoyance, suppressing his temper. This old man washed it, it's not dirty. I was startled when I heard that. He thought I was disgusted that he had drunk from the cup and it was dirty. I suddenly felt inexplicably sad. So 17-year-old Su Yang was so sensitive, but he would later become Su Yang, standing at the pinnacle of business. Everyone would have to call him CEO Su. I felt a little heartache. My boss, in his youth, instinctively felt that if he had drunk from a cup, others would find it dirty. What had he gone through? I glanced at Su Yang. At that moment, I seemed to see through the rough exterior of the young man to the fragility in his heart. I didn't say anything, I just twisted open the lid right in front of him and held the thermos with both hands, taking a sip. The warm water flowed down my throat, so warm. I smiled at Su Yang, my eyes seemingly filled with stars, sincere to the point of being fatal. I'm really thirsty, thank you, Su Yang, my classmate. The thermos emitted a faint mist of heat. Su Yang's heart felt as if something had pricked it, a tingling itch uncontrollably spreading, stirring up layers of ripples. It was as if something had been struck and shattered. Su Yang's lips curved upwards. Tomorrow, bring me soy milk too, just use this cup, Okay. I'm leaving, study hard. Got it. Su Yang walked through the corridor on the 6th floor. In a place I couldn't see, he raised his hand to cover his chest, his heart pounding so fast it felt like it would explode. Su Yang cursed under his breath. Damn, it's killing me. His eyes were filled with pure joy. It seemed that Su Yang and I had reconciled just like that. He no longer held the initial hostility towards me. I thought I could properly repay his kindness. But one day, an unexpected girl blocked my path after school. She had a neatly braided ponytail, skin that was neither dark nor fair, and inside her school uniform was a faded white and emerald shirt. Her appearance couldn't be described as outstanding, nor could it be called bad. She was just an ordinary girl. Her name was Chenzai, and she was in the same class as me, but in my previous life I rarely spoke to her, so I almost didn't remember who she was. "Is there something, classmate Chen?" I politely asked her, which made her momentarily uncomfortable. "Do you know there's a rumor going around school recently about you and Su Yang?" I didn't know, so I was a little puzzled. "What rumor? That you and Su Yang are dating early?" Dating early? I've never been good at explaining, so I just stood there, my face flushing. Chenzai asked again, "Do you like Su Yang?" "Like Su Yang? How could I like Su Yang? I was here to repay a kindness, that's all." But my heart instinctively quickened and I hastily denied, "I don't like Su Yang." Chenzai raised an eyebrow, looking at me meaningfully. "Really don't like him?" "Don't like him." "I'm here to repay a kindness," I thought to myself. Chenzai's eyes suddenly showed a hint of triumph as her gaze swept past me and landed behind me. I turned around and saw Su Yang standing at the door, his eyes icy cold. I didn't know why, but my heart fluttered a little and I instinctively spoke. "Su Yang." Su Yang said nothing, stepped forward, grabbed my wrist and walked out, his movements a bit rough. He walked very fast, I was pulled by him, the force was great, I couldn't break free and could only stumble along behind him. Su Yang noticed this out of the corner of his eye, and even though he was very angry right now, he still couldn't help but slow his pace. At the turn of the stairs, he pinned me against the corner of the wall, grabbed my chin with his hand, forcing me to look at him. I looked at Su Yang's reddened eyes, and an uncontrollable pang of pain welled up in my heart. "Su Yang, what's wrong with you?" I spoke softly, and Su Yang let out a light ah. "What's wrong with me?" "Yu-hee, if you don't like this old man, then don't you dare come and provoke this old man. What, do you get a great sense of accomplishment from playing with me?" I frowned. "I didn't play with you. I just want to be good to you." "Not playing games? Wu-hee, this time you actively came to seduce me. You actively came to provoke me." Su Yang lowered his head, very close to me, his breath all hitting my face, very hot, I didn't dare to breathe. I faced Su Yang, looking at the pupils that reflected me, my heart suddenly trembled. I softly opened my mouth. "Su Yang, do you like me?" Su Yang couldn't say anything, just stared intently at me. When he lowered his head and saw that my wrist, which he was still holding, was a fiery red, he quickly let go. Looking at the complex emotions in Su Yang's eyes, I suddenly became very certain. "Su Yang, you like me?" It was a declarative sentence. "So what if I like you, old man? Is the good student's memory so bad? Woo-hee, I told you in the first year of high school. Did it never happen? But this time, you clearly came to hook me first, you came to tease me first." I stared at him blankly, not knowing what he was talking about. I clearly didn't know him. I'm a very easy-to-cry person. Looking at the sudden tears in his eyes, I nevertheless choked them back. He looked at my tearful, yet not quite crying expression, sighed softly, and said with red eyes, "Just admit defeat to me, admit defeat, and I'll forgive you, okay?" I understood and obediently bowed deeply to him, saying gently, "I'm very sorry, I didn't know I made you so angry, I was wrong." Su Yang's heart trembled again. "Do you know what you did?" I shook my head. "No." "Then why the hell are you apologizing?" "Because of me, you got angry, so I was wrong." I said it very seriously, not joking. The agitated emotions in Su Yang's eyes seemed finally uncontrollable. He lowered his head and kissed my lips, wildly yet restrained. My brain went blank with a boom. I suddenly pushed him away, covered my mouth, and looked at him with misty eyes. Su Yang wanted to step forward, but my frightened expression pierced his heart with pain. Su Yang lowered his eyes, his voice a little hoarse. "I'm sorry, from now on, stay far away from me, I'm not a good person." After saying that, he turned to leave. He had walked a few steps when I hesitantly opened my mouth behind him, with a hint of a sob. "Su Yang, you're very good, I know." Su Yang stopped, his heart filled with a tremor. The hand hanging by his side trembled almost imperceptibly, as if he was trying to suppress something. After a long while, Su Yang spoke softly, his voice very low and tinged with self-mockery. "Woo-hee, you don't know." The sky gradually began to drizzle. I didn't have an umbrella, so I could only wait for the rain to stop in the teaching building with red eyes. While waiting, I thought about Su Yang's words, wondering what exactly had happened that I didn't know. There must have been a problem in between. Today's rain seemed endless, pattering on and on. I waited until evening and the rain was still falling. Just as I was about to call my dad, Su Yang came back. He looked at my red, tear-stained nose and his tone wasn't gentle at all. "I give up, okay? It's raining and you don't know to go back. Are you an idiot?" He was so fierce, I said tearfully, "I don't have an umbrella." Su Yang didn't say anything, just threw an umbrella at me. I quickly caught it. It was a pink umbrella, still in its packaging, clearly brand new, so new. Before I could even say thank you, Su Yang said fiercely, "If you don't like me, then don't you dare come provoke me again, or I'll make you regret it." With that, he slung his clothes over his shoulder and walked away. But after walking a few steps, Su Yang turned back and saw me still standing there in a daze, looking at him. Su Yang cursed under his breath, "Damn it." He opened his mouth to me. "Good student, what part of me don't you like? Tell me, I'll change, okay?" From that day on, Su Yang seemed to start avoiding me and my heart felt truly lost. I decided I needed to find him and have a clear talk. As I reached the corner of the corridor, I saw Su Yang's figure. Just as I was about to call out to him, a voice spoke before me. I stopped, pausing at the corner. It was a deliberately high-pitched voice, filled with intense shyness. Su Yang classmate. It was Chen Zai. Su Yang raised his eyelids to look at her. "Who are you?" Su Yang's gaze was very cold, not even wanting to glance at her. Chen Zai was very surprised that Su Yang didn't remember her. "Su Yang classmate, you don't remember me? It's me, Chen Zai from class 1, we've met twice." Su Yang looked her up and down. Chen Zai saw Su Yang's scrutinizing gaze, which made her very embarrassed, as if he were evaluating trash. She lowered her head to look at her very old shoes, clutching her faded white shirt with both hands, and whispered, "You really don't remember me? In the first semester, I even helped you deliver a love letter to Yuhi." Chen Zai hadn't finished speaking when Su Yang impatiently interrupted. "Don't remember." Saying that, he turned to leave. Chen Zai seemed very unwilling and quickly said to Su Yang's retreating back, "But you still came to find Yuhi, you didn't forget at all, you're just deceiving yourself. Yuhi is clearly toying with your feelings, she fundamentally doesn't want to have any connection with you, she must have ulterior motives for you. You." Chen Zai wanted to say more, but was suddenly grabbed by the neck by Su Yang, who had abruptly turned around. She couldn't breathe, but Su Yang was still exerting force, his eyes filled with cruelty. Chen Zai struggled desperately, she was about to suffocate, while Su Yang's face was full of excitement. Chen Zai was terrified, he really wanted to kill her. In that moment, Chen Zai felt a genuine fear from the bottom of her heart. She completely realized that the young man in front of her was the Su Yang everyone feared, and she had actually thought that because she had spoken a few words with him, she was somehow different. Just as Chen Zai was about to faint from lack of oxygen, Su Yang released her. She gasped for air in large gulps, a primal instinct of survival. Su Yang's tone was somewhat indifferent. "How she treats me, you don't need to remind me. Next time you see me, stay away from me." Chen Zai sat on the ground, watching Su Yang leave and didn't recover for a long time. After she finished tidying herself up, I walked over. I absolutely had to get to the bottom of this. I approached her, my tone calm. "Chen Zai." Chen Zai's gaze met mine, and when her eyes dropped to my little white shoes, she suddenly turned her face away with difficulty. I looked at her, turned away, feeling a bit puzzled. Why was it that kind of look? Envy mixed with resentment, as if there was an injustice or perhaps jealousy and unwillingness. Something wrong? Her tone was very cold and indifferent, not wanting to talk to me. "Did Su Yang come looking for me before? You mentioned a love letter before I could finish speaking." Chen Zai stood up and pushed me away, wanting to leave. My temper is soft, but when I get stubborn, I am the most persistent person. I blocked her, not letting her go, following her step by step. When we were almost at her house, she was pestered by me. She turned around and told me about Su Yang giving her a love letter during his first year of high school. It turned out that not long after the first semester of high school began, Su Yang came looking for me. At that time, he was very nervous, not even daring to see us. He handed the love letter to Chen Zai, who was just about to enter the classroom, and pretended to be nonchalant as he asked her to give it to me. But Chen Zai didn't give it to me. She also liked Su Yang. Without my permission, she said many harsh things to Su Yang. She told Su Yang, "I feel disgusted just by glancing at him, he and I are fundamentally not from the same world." Chen Zai told him that this was what I had asked her to convey. Su Yang's pride shattered to pieces, his face was gloomy. He said he would never bother me again. I looked down on him, and he didn't want to be pathetic. Such a thing, if he didn't touch it, it would be best for him. Su Yang said, "Writing a love letter, that kind of idiotic thing, I will absolutely never do it a second time." I didn't want Woo Hee to agree immediately. I have self-awareness. I know how far apart she and I are. My all-night nervousness was all a goddamn joke. You go back and tell Woo Hee, if she is so clean, then I won go and dirty her eyes. When I heard the entire story from Chen Zi's mouth, my heart ached terribly. So he had known me for a long time, so when I became his special assistant, he had such animosity towards me. In my previous life, I always felt he was awkward, but it turned out that without my knowledge, he had received such a rejection, and this hurt, surprisingly, came from me. The scorching hot love of the youth was completely denied. For the first time, my face was filled with anger as I looked at someone. Chen Zi looked at my expression and smiled. "Don't look at me like that, you and Su Yang are simply not compatible. Chen Zi, if you like someone, like them openly and generously. Doing what you're doing will only make others see your insecurity." My words provoked her, and she became a little agitated. "What do you know? You don't know what he's been through, what he's done before, what kind of person he is. Only I can understand his situation. You're here to lecture me now. When you find out about Su Yang's past, can you still stand by him? Do you know that he—" I didn't wait for her to finish. I turned and left. I didn't know what had happened to Su Yang in the past, but regarding his past, I hoped to hear it from Su Yang himself, not from what others said. Did I not know what kind of person he was? No, I knew what kind of person he was. He was someone who, beneath the ruins of 1,000 feet, was willing to save a life. I wanted to get to know Su Yang well, but he kept avoiding me, and I couldn't find him. I hadn't had the chance to get to know him properly before I encountered the first injustice since my rebirth. And what I couldn't accept was that this injustice actually happened at school. In my second monthly exam, I got first place as I wished. The school was going to recommend one person to participate in a national youth talent cultivation program. I thought it would be me, because the requirements stated that all academic achievements since entering the school would be the main factor. 80 academic performance, 15 personal special talents, 5 teacher recommendation score. Ranked according to this proportion, the first person would get the spot. But in the end, the one recommended was an art student. She was very beautiful and played the violin exceptionally well. I never imagined that the academic performance, which accounted for the heaviest proportion, would be suppressed to the lowest, and what ultimately played a decisive role was the 5 teacher recommendation. In my previous life, there was also such a spot, but the school directly and secretly decided on her. In this life, however, to ensure fairness, they wanted to determine it through such a tricky ranking. But where was the fairness? She was an art student who wanted to go to a very famous music school abroad, and she didn't really intend to go to this national special training. It was just to make her resume look more perfect. She said to others, very pleased with herself, "So what if your grades are good? I want this spot, and as long as my dad says a word, I can get it. There's nothing money can solve." You see, with just a little money, the grade director had to bend over backward to deliver the spot right into my hands. When I heard these words, I was particularly angry. I had originally resigned myself to it, but these words made me, who had never fought for anything, aggressively march to the grade director's office. I stubbornly questioned the grade director, demanding fairness. But I didn't get it. The teacher stood on the moral high ground and lectured me. He even said that I was a good student, so why did I always think from my own self-interest? I couldn't be so selfish. My eyes were red, and I didn't know how to defend myself. This was a school, after all. That afternoon, the news of me being talked to tears by the grade director spread throughout the school. When school ended in the afternoon, I didn't rush home. My current state was really not good, and I was afraid that if I went back, I would make my parents worry. So I sat in my seat, doing one set of problems after another, until the sky gradually darkened. Suddenly, the chair in front of me was pulled out, and someone sat down smoothly. I looked up, and the moment my eyes met with Su Yang's, tears uncontrollably streamed down. I called out to him with a sob, "Su Yang." Su Yang gently replied, "I am here." I finally couldn't hold it in and tearfully told him how the grade director had talked to me today. I cried intermittently, my eyes red, and as Su Yang put it, I looked like a wounded kitten. Su Yang listened quietly, and I was still talking. But he's a teacher. How can he be so unfair? Isn't this a school? Su Yang leaned forward, gently wiping the tears from my face with his palm. But they were like pearls, one after another, never-ending. I was really so sad. Su Yang's voice was very soft, hiding a tenderness that was hard to detect. Don T cry. It breaks my heart to see you cry. Then he picked up my school bag and knelt in front of me. Get on, I'll take you home. I tearfully wrapped my arms around Su Yang's neck. Why are you here? Weren't you avoiding me? I've been waiting for you by the stairwell, but you didn't come down. Nga. Sugar carried the sobbing me slowly, and when we arrived at my doorstep, I was still sniffling on his back. Sugar carefully put me down, helped me put on my backpack, then took my shoulders with both hands, bending down to be at eye level with me. It was that fierce tone again. Good student, don't cry again when you go back, understand? What a big deal this is, you'll be fine after a good night's sleep. If I find out you're still crying alone at home, I opened my red, swollen eyes and stared straight at him, waiting for him to continue. Sugar sighed, then stroked my head. Forget it, what can I do to you anyway? Go back, have a good sleep, you'll be fine tomorrow, I guarantee you, tomorrow will definitely be good. But you absolutely must eat today, understand? I had cried all the way, but I wasn't actually that sad. After all, I had lived for so long in my previous life, I was already so old. Today, I just couldn't immediately accept that school could also be unfair, and that the instigator of all this was actually the teaching and education teacher. I just couldn't accept it, but after crying for so long, I had already thought it through. I had thought of this world as too beautiful, so now facing Sugar, I only felt embarrassed. I had cried for so long in front of him, it was so shameful, I must have looked really ugly. Sugar watched me choke up, unable to speak, my eyes red, my head bowed. He muttered a low damn it. He cupped my face, fiercely, speak, if you don't speak, I'll kiss you. Shock flashed in my eyes. I thought to myself, I've cried like this and he still has such thoughts. Sugar seemed to read my mind and chuckled softly. His laughter was brief and low, and I felt a tingling sensation in my chest. I looked at him helplessly. Sugar softened his voice, go back and eat, understood? He paused, then opened his mouth helplessly again. Speak. I nodded lightly. After returning home, I couldn't settle down. Sugar said that tomorrow everything would be fine, he guaranteed it. But how would he guarantee it? I was so worried about him. So, I lied to my parents. I told them that I had forgotten to bring back a piece of homework and needed to go back to school to get it. Dad was worried about me and insisted on taking me, but I said I could go alone. Perhaps it was because I was rarely so stubborn. Dad told me to be careful, to get the book and come back quickly, and to call him if anything happened. I didn't have time to think about whether they saw through my lie or not. I got on my bicycle and rushed towards the school. Upon arriving at school, I immediately went to the grade director's office. I don't know why, but I just had a premonition that Su Yang had gone to find the grade director. Sure enough, as soon as I reached the office door, I heard Su Yang's voice. You motherfucker really think a little girl has no one backing her up, don't you? Su Yang was pulling the grade director's hair, flicking cigarette ash onto his face, and blowing a mouthful of smoke at his face. However it should be settled, just settle it for me however it should be settled. The grade director was terrified, the pungent smell of smoke choking him, making him cough uncontrollably. Through the smoke, I saw Su Yang, whose eyes were fierce as he slapped the director's face with his hand. Be fair to me, this is a school. I didn't think much of it and stood at the office door, calling out to him, Su Yang. As soon as my voice fell, I clearly saw Su Yang's body tremble. Su Yang released the grade director's hair, crushed the cigarette, and walked over to pull me away from the office. He talked as we walked. Why are you here? Didn't I tell you to go home? So much smoke, what are you doing here? I was worried about you. Hearing this, Su Yang suddenly let go of my hand, stopped, and faced me. He lowered his head to look at me, asking awkwardly, You, how much did you see? Without waiting for my answer, he explained again. Don't worry, I was just scaring him, I wouldn't really do anything to him. You, Su Yang, I was worried you'd get hurt. Su Yang was stunned for a long time, then chuckled. When he spoke again, his eyes were filled with a smile. Me getting hurt? It's only a matter of whether I let him off, not whether I get hurt. The largest shareholder of this school is Su Group. His tone was very confident, making me see a glimpse of him from my previous life when he was my boss. He looked at me nonchalantly. Good student. A large hand reached towards my face, gently pinching it. Next time, if you encounter something like this again, don't solve it alone. You're a good student, anyone can bully you. Find me, my reputation is bad, I'll stand up for you. I didn't speak, just looked at him with a giggle. Su Yang became uncomfortable under my gaze. He turned his head away and reached out to cover my eyes. Don't look at me like that, it's a small matter, I do the same for others I meet. I held his hand with both of mine and moved it away from my eyes. Student Su Yang, please bend down. Su Yang's tone was casual. What for? I want to pat your head. Is my head something you can just pat? Su Yang scoffed at me. I didn't say anything, just looked up at him seriously. Su Yang scratched his head and sighed. Immediately after, he bent down in front of me. Hurry up and do it. I curved my lips into a smile, raised my hand to gently stroke his hair, and softly called out, Student Su Yang. Now what? Su Yang's tone was a bit fierce, but his waist remained bent. I said to him, word by word, I want to have an early relationship with you. What? Su Yang was stunned for a long time and finally asked me in disbelief, his eyes exceptionally bright. He leaned so close to me, almost touching my nose, and my ear tips uncontrollably flushed crimson. I whispered as softly as possible, I already said it. His warm breath brushed against my face, and Su Yang's scent occupied my entire nervous system. You like me? I didn't speak, but my trembling heart, beat by beat, told me that I liked him, that my heart was stirring for him. Suddenly, Su Yang reached out and pinched my ear, the smile in his eyes impossible to hide. Your ears are so red, you really like this old man. My body trembled. No one had ever pinched my ear like that before, and I looked at him in shock. He laughed aloud. Be my girlfriend, and from now on, we won't be able to break up. Get angry as much as you want, I'll coax you, but this old man won't allow breaking up. Su Yang paused, stroking my ear. Good student, do you still want to be my girlfriend like this? I looked at him and nodded gently. Yes. Su Yang smiled a bit roguishly, rubbing my hair with his hand. Let us go, I'll walk you home. I rode my bicycle. I don't care, I'd rather walk you. Saying that, he was about to take my hand. I quickly dodged, whispering to him, This is school, we can tease. Su Yang forcefully intertwined his fingers with mine. Puppy love is only called puppy love when it's shown at school. People will see us. Su Yang chuckled, pinching my cheek and leaned closer to me. Either let me hold your hand or let me kiss you, you choose yourself. This old man isn't a vegetarian. I silently held his hand back, feeling that holding hands was safer than him kissing me. Su Yang, you don't need to keep saying this old man anymore, you should say it's not good like that. I told him in a soft tone. Su Yang suppressed the corners of his mouth from rising, holding my hand as we walked, occasionally squeezing my hand. Okay, I'll listen to you. On the way home, I saw Su Yang pretending to be nonchalant, but his eyes frequently glanced at our clasped hands. I couldn't help but softly call him. Su Yang, your love letter to me before it's nothing, that S in the past, I don't care, I only look at the present. I looked up at him, but he refused to meet my gaze. Su Yang took a step forward, and I suddenly stopped. The letter you wrote to me, Chen's I didn't give it to me, and I never said those words. Su Yang, do you believe me? He was stunned for a moment, dark colors swirling in his eyes, and finally he curved his lips. I believe it. I shook his hand, my voice soft. Su Yang, don't go looking for Chen's eye. What belongs to me, I will go and claim it, I will get it back. Su Yang turned his head away, his voice faint. It's nothing, just a letter, no need to get it back. Saying that, he was about to pull me to continue walking forward, but I stubbornly held onto him. I must get it back, okay? Su Yang chuckled. Okay. We walked slowly along the way. Usually the domineering Su Yang was so quiet this time, but he held my hand very tightly. The closer we got to home, the more silent Su Yang became. What was he afraid of? He pulled me, walking very slowly. When I finally stood at the door of my house, about to turn around and go inside, Su Yang called out to me. His voice carried restraint, and his eyes held emotions I couldn't understand. I will quit smoking, and I will control my temper. From now on, I won't say lazy anymore. Can you say that you mean what you say? Tomorrow morning when you wake up, don't regret it. My heart ached inexplicably. I seriously told him, I mean what I say. Su Yang's eyes lit up. He suddenly bent down and leaned very close to me. I clearly saw his gaze sweep across my lips. I quickly covered my lips tightly with my hand. Su Yang laughed aloud, his lips landing on the back of my hand. I widened my eyes, angrily calling out to him. Su Yang! His warm breath sprayed on my face, making my skin feel itchy. Su Yang's Adam's apple bobbed up and down, and he cursed softly. Damn, it's killing me. Su Yang! My mistake, I won't say it. The next second, he bent down and kissed the crown of my head with restraint, his voice hoarse. Yu-hee, don't you dare regret it. Indeed, good people are often bullied, and good horses are often ridden hard. I've always been well-behaved, so they all feel I'm easy to bully. No matter how hard I try to resist, I never get the fairness that belongs to me. But yesterday, Su Yang's actions perhaps scared the grade director, and the spot returned to me. When I came out of the grade director's office, intending to return to the classroom, that art student was waiting in the hallway. She brought her little sisters with her, looking at me disdainfully. Other people in the class poked their heads out of the windows. They all wanted to know how she would teach me a lesson. Chen Zai was also watching me from the window. I looked at them calmly, intending to ignore them and walk past, but one of them grabbed my wrist. The art student looked at me and said with a smile, "What, you took my spot and you're not going to give an explanation?" I wasn't afraid of her. This was originally mine. I don't need to explain anything to you. Even if it wasn't mine, it shouldn't be yours. I didn't want to argue with them further and tried to leave, but they held onto my wrist, not letting me go. Suddenly, a voice called out to me, Yu-hee. It was Su Yang. In front of everyone, he smiled with a roguish air, "Come here." As I approached him, he extended a hand to me. I couldn't help but smile. Su Yang's tone was so arrogant. I walked over, lifted my small face to look at him, and placed my hand into his palm. His hand was very large, able to completely envelop mine. He curved the corner of his mouth. With so many people watching, I was very shy, but I didn't pull away. He then took my hand and looked at it again. My wrist was already red all around. He asked me in a low voice, "Does it hurt?" I smiled and shook my head. "I don't feel anything." He stroked my head, then casually rested his hand on my head. He was too tall. I could completely serve as his armrest. Afterward, Su Yang lifted his chin towards the art student and her group, who were already stunned in place. "Looking for my kid for something?" That art student was truly astonished, her eyes filled with shock, and not just her, but everyone else too. Brother Yang, sorry, we didn't know she was the sister-in-law. It's all a misunderstanding, we'll leave first. The phrase sister-in-law made my face flush, but Su Yang clearly enjoyed it. Just as that art student was about to lead her people away, Su Yang lifted his eyelids and glanced at her, lazily opening his mouth. "Did this old man allow you to leave?" I tilted my head to look at him. Su Yang reacted and quickly corrected himself. "Damn it, it just slipped out." I quickly tugged at him, Su Yang. Tusk, he ruffled his hair. "Damn it, I said the wrong thing again." He pinched my cheek. I was wrong. The group of art students were left standing there but didn't dare to leave. "Brother Yang, can we go now?" Su Yang heard this and smiled mischievously. "You have to ask if my Yu-hee agrees." Then he bent down and asked me, "Should I let them go?" Everyone knew that when Su Yang fought, he fought desperately, and they didn't dare to provoke him. No one had ever seen Su Yang at first high school act so gentle. Everyone dared not speak. The pressure was on me. I knew Su Yang was getting angry for me, but this was really a big show of power. I quickly stammered, Yes, you can." Su Yang looked at me and chuckled, covering his eyes, and said softly, "So obedient." The result of this incident was that the entire school knew I was in an early relationship with Su Yang, but due to Su Yang's bad reputation, no one dared to report it. My best friend, who had just returned from pooping in the restroom, was terrified when she learned about this and pulled me to look me over. "I'm so sorry, hee. When you were being bullied, I was actually pooping." I burst out laughing at her. "It's okay." My best friend's gossip heart burned brightly. "Are you dating Su Yang? Do you really like this type? So fierce. You didn't have much interaction with him before, so how did you suddenly get together?" I carefully considered how to tell my best friend. I owed him something before, but I couldn't repay it, so I wanted to be good to him, otherwise my heart wouldn't be at ease. But now I found that I like him, so we got together. I thought about it. In my previous life during the earthquake, Su Yang protected me in his arms and I survived. I really owed him a life and I had to repay it. "My best friend, you confessed." "When was this?" I nodded gently. "Yes, yesterday." The fact that Su Yang liked me, I originally didn't even dare to imagine. I thought he would have liked me earlier in my previous life, but he was so fierce to me that I couldn't bear it. It could be said that he found fault with me everywhere. In this life, I didn't dare to have any improper thoughts. I only wanted to protect him well so he could live a long life. But he seems to have liked me for a long time. What exactly did I forget here? But my best friend thought about it more and more and felt it was amazing. She cupped my small face. Our Hee is truly someone who quietly does big things. As soon as you make a move, it's the school tyrant. But you must be careful, his appearance looks very flirtatious at first glance. You must be very careful and don't be enchanted by his good looks. Absolutely not, I wouldn't even dare to go up and help you get revenge, he's too fierce, I'm afraid he'll hit me. My best friend's words made me laugh. What on earth was she even saying? Is Su Yang a playboy? Su Yang isn't a playboy. In his previous life, he had already reached such a high position. What kind of woman couldn't he have? However, whenever those celebrities and models wanted to get involved with him, he would always coldly refuse. His surroundings were impeccably clean. Don't worry, Su Yang isn't a playboy. Recently, everyone in the school has been saying that a student has changed, and it only takes a sweet love to do it. Bully Su Yang is a living example. He actually started studying. When blocking his path and making him move, Su Yang would even say thank you to them. However, Su Yang, who had to be dragged to say nearly 1,000 thank yous, was even more terrifying than Su Yang who beat people. They all said, "This is my credit." That day, the boy who used to hang out with him said to him, "Brother Yang, I heard that the people from Second High are going to have a happy today, are we going?" Su Yang kicked him, looking disgusted. "That's a fucking party, if you don't know how to say it, don't say it." My Woohee taught me so hard, don't lead me astray. The closer it got to my training period, the more he stuck to me. He held my hand and said pitifully, "Why does the training have to be for a month?" I didn't expect Su Yang to be so clingy when in love, but I also liked him sticking to me, showing me a different side of him. I knew he was reluctant to part with me, so I could only tell him that a month would pass quickly, and he could also come to see me. But I didn't expect him not to come see me for a month, not even a phone call. It was just one night, my phone rang, it wasn't Su Yang's number, but I just knew it was Su Yang on the other end. I asked several times, "Who is it?" But there was no reply from the other side, as if they just wanted to hear my voice. I felt that something might have happened, but I didn't expect that all of this was orchestrated by Chen Zai. Before going to the training, I went to her house to find her. At that time, I wanted to get back the letter Su Yang wrote to me. That was Su Yang's sincere feelings, I had to get it back, so I went to her house. I didn't know much about Chen Zai, only that her mother remarried when she was very young, bringing her and her younger brother, marrying a man who worked on a construction site. Chen Zai's family was a bit difficult, and the school offered scholarships every year, but she rarely tried to get them. She was a very proud girl. She rarely talked about her family at school. Therefore, her personality was also exceptionally reclusive, and she rarely initiated conversations with people. So I didn't know she was having a hard time. I asked my way to her house, and that whole street was full of rental rooms, and the environment wasn't very good. As soon as I got near her house, I heard a burst of scolding. "You cheap girl, just like your mother, both of you are selfish people. You eat my food, wear my clothes, what's wrong with asking you to accompany my friends?" I vaguely saw through the window the man pulling Chen Zai's hair. "I've raised you for so many years, when have you ever listened to me? You and your brother are both freeloaders. This time, even if you don't want to go, you have to go. If you go, I'll have money to pay back the usurious loan. If you don't go, I'll beat you until you do, and your brother won't even think about living." At the mention of Chen Zai's younger brother, Chen Zai immediately stood up, hugged the man's leg, and bit down hard. The man cried out in pain and kicked her far away with one foot, from inside the room to outside the front door. I was terrified by the scene before me, but by the time I reacted, I had already run to shield Chen Zai. The man was startled by my sudden rush, and Stream Chen was also stunned. I grabbed her hand, signaling her not to be afraid. At this moment, I noticed there was a 7 or 8-year-old boy in the room, standing there crying. I helped Stream Chen up. "I'll help you call the police." "Call the police? I'd like to see who dares to call the police today. Such a tender little girl is more valuable than that cheap girl, meddling in my business, right? I'll make sure you don't leave once you've arrived today." His words made me feel a wave of disgust. "You are breaking the law." My voice was delicate and soft. Even when angry, the words I spoke carried no threat. He laughed even more wildly, even thinking of pulling my hand. Before he could touch me, I cried out with red eyes. Appearance Sue? Appearance Sue was nearby, he came with me, but I said I wanted to come alone. So he was waiting for me at the entrance of the alley. The door was kicked open, and Appearance Sue kicked him away, then pressed him, slamming him against the wall again and again. His fists landed on the man's body. The man was beaten unconscious, his face covered in blood. I saw that Appearance Sue's hand was already bleeding. I called out to him worriedly, but at that moment, he seemed oblivious to the outside world, unable to hear any sound. I was afraid something would happen, so I walked over and grabbed his clenched fist. I felt him trembling violently. His eyes were bloodshot, full of rage, and he still wanted to continue hitting. I tugged at the corner of his shirt. Appearance Sue, okay, that's enough, I'm fine, he didn't touch me. I always cry easily. As soon as the words left my mouth, tears fell. Appearance Sue's eyes shifted, looking at me, carefully wiping my tears, patting my back little by little, speaking to me, yet also seemingly to himself. Baby, don't be afraid, I'm here. Saying that, he pulled me and walked out. Give up, believe us, give up, if you want it, I'll write it for you again. I still wanted to say something, but Appearance Sue suddenly carried me on his back and walked out of Stream Chen's house. I'll take you away from here, be good, okay? His voice was particularly hoarse. I sensed Appearance Sue's abnormality, feeling an indescribable discomfort in my heart, but I didn't know how to comfort him. I could only press my face against him, letting him feel my presence. Appearance Sue, I'm good, don't be afraid, I know you're here. Appearance Sue's steps paused. Harmony, fortunately you called my name today. Thank you for calling my name, otherwise, if something had happened to you, and I was right nearby, if such a thing really happened again, I probably wouldn't be able to live either. At that time, I still couldn't understand why Su Yang wanted to say again, until I returned from training. During this period of training, Su Yang didn't contact me once, which made me very worried. At first, it was self-doubt, but later, receiving that silent phone call late at night made me instinctively feel that something had happened. When I got home, I called Su Yang, but he didn't answer. Therefore, the next day, which was originally meant for rest and recuperation, I went to school early. My best friend saw me and was very surprised, wanting to speak but hesitating. I calmly opened my mouth. Go on, has something happened to Su Yang? You can tell me, I can handle it. My best friend stammered, and I finally understood clearly. My Su Yang, during the days I wasn't by his side, had suffered endless accusations at school. They said Su Yang was the sinner who caused his mother's death. His mother died because of him. His father wouldn't have died with her on that day either. It was all his fault, they said. If it weren't for Su Yang, his mother wouldn't have died. His mother shouldn't have given birth to Su Yang. They said Su Yang had no heart. On the day his mother died because of him, he was playing games at an internet cafe. They said, no wonder his temper was so bad. His mother's death didn't even soften him. He was beyond saving. They said Su Yang shouldn't even be alive in this world. They said they had no face to live. At that moment, it seemed like everyone could stand up and criticize him. I was in so much pain I couldn't breathe, wanting to find Su Yang immediately. However, I couldn't find Su Yang, and at school, no one listened to my explanations. I told them Su Yang was very good, but except for my best friend, no one believed me. What should I do, Su Yang? What should I do? I'm too incompetent. Besides studying, I'm useless at everything. I can't even defend you properly. My best friend told me that when the news about Su Yang started spreading at school, it began on Taiba. Everyone initially knew, but no one dared to discuss it in front of Su Yang. But later, more and more people talked about it, and gradually, the news reached Su Yang's ears. That day, Su Yang just stood there in a daze, went to my classroom, sat alone for a while, took my thermos, and never came to school again. I went from initial panic to gradually calming down. In my previous life, I studied computer science in college. I started searching from the source, and finally, I found the address of the poster. It was a small internet cafe near Chenzai's house. It was Chenzai. I couldn't understand why she would do such a thing. The day before I went for training, I had talked to her. I called out to her as she was about to go home. Chenzai, report it to the police. If it's inconvenient for you, I can help you. You don't need to be afraid. How was she at that time? She smiled mockingly. Stop pretending to be sympathetic in front of me. Are you very pleased now that Su Yang likes you so much? You're just idle and have nothing to do but come and watch my misfortune. I frowned. I just want to help you report it to the police, but I need your cooperation. Chenzai, that man committed a crime. You don't need to suffer such harm. Report it to the police. Do you know what I've been through? If the police arrest him, he didn't kill anyone, he didn't commit a serious crime. How many years can he be imprisoned? When he gets out of prison, he'll come back to harass me. I'll never escape him my whole life. Saying that, she paused, then looked at me again and said, some people simply don't deserve to be in prison. He should go to hell. Chenzai's eyes were particularly vicious, scaring me into taking a few steps back. She looked at me and smiled. If you tell anyone about my business, I won't let you off. I looked at her, wanting to empathize, to understand what kind of life she had lived to become like this, but I wasn't her. I couldn't find the answer. She told me not to interfere, and I really didn't. But I didn't expect her to be so malicious, to actually post about Su Yang on Taiba while I was away for training. I really couldn't understand why she would do such a thing. Su Yang had no grudge against her. I also couldn't imagine how she knew all these things about Su Yang. In my previous life, I was Su Yang's special assistant, and I had never heard of them. After finding out it was her, I furiously sought her out. She was very calm, as if she had long known I would come looking for her. Why? No reason, I just wanted to see if he would abandon you if you were stuck in the mud like me. As expected, his first step was to push you away. I looked at the madness in her eyes. So what if he abandoned me? Countless times I would still find him. But what about you? What right do you have to hurt him like that? People should be kind. You have no right to hurt Su Yang. Upon hearing my words, she suddenly became very agitated. Kindness? What is kindness? You don't know what I've been through. What right do you have to talk about kindness to me? You were born in the light, you have parents who love you, you just live your life well, you don't need to worry about anything. You also have countless pairs of pure white shoes that remain unstained, so what did I do wrong? To make me stuck in the mud my whole life. I just can't stand to see you so happy. Su Yang likes you too, why can he also be happy? He and I are from the same path, he should be stuck in the mud just like me. I quietly looked at her, and after a long while I softly spoke, no one is born to live in darkness. There will always be someone willing to bring you into the sunlight countless times. I will find Su Yang. Chenzai, living in darkness is not a reason for you to hurt Su Yang. It is a pity I cannot work together with you. I felt that Chenzai was insane. I couldn't do anything to her. She was trapped in her own world and I couldn't reason with her. Given Su Yang's personality, I felt he wouldn't be afraid of what people at school would think of him. He should use his domineering side to make them shut up. But this time, he didn't resist. Instead, he hid. He was afraid that once I knew, I would think he was a sinner who had caused his parents' death yet still lived well in this world. He was afraid I would despise him, that I wouldn't want him. So, he hid, making it impossible for me to find him. But I had to find him, absolutely. However, the process of finding someone was truly too difficult. I searched for a long time, a month. My parents had already noticed my abnormality, but I didn't know how to explain it to them. I searched and finally broke down, squatting under a street lamp, hugging myself, crying very sadly. Why do you want to push me away? In the previous life, you made me live alone in this world for so long, and in this life, you still want to push me away. Suddenly, a shadow fell from above, covering the light above my head. I looked up. Su Yang was standing about 1 meter away from me, looking very haggard. In just 1 week, he had made himself like this. Su Yang's voice was extremely hoarse. I'm sorry, I didn't avoid it. You don't need to be sad, okay? I stood up, not bothering to wipe the tears from my face. Su Yang, as soon as something happened to you, you hid yourself, didn't care, and left me alone. How do you think I would think of you, like everyone else? He. Su Yang's voice trembled, calling my name softly. You never truly came to ask about my feelings. You just hid in your shell, self-righteous. You don't trust me like this, why do you still want to be with me? I was so angry that I hadn't finished speaking when I was suddenly embraced by Su Yang, very tightly, as if he wanted to rub me into his bones and flesh. Su Yang bent down and buried his face deeply into the hollow of my neck. I was stunned. I felt Su Yang's body trembling violently. He was scared. Suddenly, a warm, wet drop landed on my neck. Was he crying? A muffled voice. I'm sorry, I was wrong. Baby, don't say break up. My heart ached intensely. I gently asked him, I've been looking for you for so long, where have you been? I've always been by your side. I was suddenly stunned, my chest aching immensely. So, in such a distressed situation for me, how did he manage to hold back from approaching me? His voice was very low. Yuhi, everything about the school incident is true. When my mom died, this beast was still playing games at the internet cafe. I really am a rotten person, just like they said. Do you still want me? He hugged me tightly. Can you please not abandon me? His tone was humble, almost to the dust. Su Yang, I want you, I want you. I gently patted his back. Su Yang, you always feel that I just simply like you, not loving you enough, but I love you. Su Yang looked up disbelievingly at me. He didn't dare to move, as if afraid this was a dream. I looked at him, gently stroking his hair. Su Yang, you have to believe that I might love you more than you think. You don't know, perhaps I crossed a reincarnation just to be by your side. Su Yang's eyes were still red, filled with unease. He didn't speak profusely, just kept repeating my name, his voice hoarse and affectionate. Yuhi, Yuhi, yes. Rain Harmony, yes. There was no impatience. I answered patiently, word by word. He called once, I responded once. I held Su Yang's hand and pulled him home. Whatever happens, we'll face it together. No running away from each other. Su Yang nodded obediently. Tell me a little about your parents? Okay. That was the first time I learned about Su Yang's parents. Throughout the entire process, he spoke very calmly. But the process of recounting was like tearing open old wounds again, laying them bare before me, and once again, my heart ached. I finally understood the reason for Su Yang's unusual behavior that day at Chen Zai's house. As I listened, I tightly intertwined my fingers with his. I so desperately wanted to give him strength. I never expected Su Yang to have such a past. Su Yang told me that he originally had a very warm family. At that time, although he was also ill-tempered, he wasn't as rebellious as he is now. His mother was a very gentle woman. At that time, he had an argument with his family over a small matter, and it was raining outside. He went out without an umbrella and didn't return even when it was almost dark. His mother, worried about him, took an umbrella and went out to look for him. He never thought that his mother would suffer such harm on that day because she went out to find him. Something happened to Su Yang's mother that day. She went alone with an umbrella to the places Su Yang often frequented to look for him. As a result, she encountered a man who had just been released from prison for attempted rape. Su Yang's mother was particularly beautiful and loved to wear cheongsams, but this beautiful cheongsam unexpectedly became the reason for that person's crime. She merely accidentally bumped into that person, but the sky was starting to darken, and he had been drinking. In an instant, he transformed into a demon who should not have existed in this world. He dragged Su Yang's mother away in front of everyone. She did ask for help from the people around, but that man was fierce and menacing, pulling out a knife from his bag, so no one dared to help. A girl thought about coming to help but was forcibly pulled away by her boyfriend. Thus, Su Yang's mother was dragged away and violated by him. She screamed loudly, calling out Su Yang's father's name repeatedly. When Su Yang's father heard his phone's alarm go off, he knew his wife was in trouble. He rushed out without hesitation. The always astute man was utterly panicked at that moment. When he arrived at the scene, he fought like a madman with that man. He used the man's knife to stab the man to death, but in the end, he also died in the rain from excessive blood loss. Before he died, he still comforted Su Yang's mother, saying, "Don't be afraid, I'm here," holding her, not wanting her to get wet. Su Yang's mother was taken to the hospital. After returning from the rescue, the same day, the person could not accept such a fact and jumped off a building. And Su Yang had always been waiting for his mother to pick him up and take him home at the arcade. When he found out, he was heartbroken and remorseful, but he dared not admit or imagine that all of this happened because of his willfulness. So he used rebellion and arrogance to disguise himself. At the funeral, he sneered at his father's portrait. How useless, Su Tanju, to die together with that man. You should have made that man suffer more than death. You should have sent him to hell. You so easily killed him. Who am I supposed to vent my anger on now? His grandfather was furious and immediately slapped him. Su Yang said that at that time, he looked at his grandfather and sneered, "You are not my father, you have no right to hit me." He then turned around and left, never returning. He used this as an excuse to leave home, but in fact, he didn't want to stay in that room where he used to live, remembering that incident every day. "I'm really so damn weak," he said to me, utterly helpless. "You don't know, that day, I was actually playing games at the arcade while waiting for my mom to pick me up and take me home. I knew she would definitely come to pick me up, It was always like that every time we argued. I even thought if she came to pick me up, I would step on the steps she provided and go home with her. But I didn't wait for her. I didn't even get to see her one last time. Su Yang. I called his name, letting him know I was still there. Su Yang stroked my head, his eyes red. Yu-hee, do you know? Actually, I regret it every day. I'm not as heartless as they say. I've been unable to sleep on countless dark nights. I've always been repenting. Yu-hee, believe me, I'm actually more miserable than anyone else. Su Yang, I believe you, I believe you. It was then that I realized how difficult Su Yang's previous life had been. In this life, I'm here. I want to face it with him. Su Yang must have been very miserable back then. How did he get through each night? But it doesn't matter. From now on, I will be by his side. I will hug him and not let him suffer. The next day, I took Su Yang to find his grandfather. It was his first time returning home since attending the funeral. Grandpa was a really kind old man, at least to me. He spoke softly, afraid of speaking too loudly and startling me, but when he turned to look at Su Yang, his expression immediately changed, becoming stern. He looked at Su Yang as if his eyes weren't eyes and his nose wasn't a nose. However, beneath his feigned anger, I saw hidden longing. Su Yang also awkwardly wore a sour face. The grandfather and grandson's expressions of mutual dislike were particularly adorable. Grandpa handed a mobile phone to Su Yang. It was his mother's phone. It turned out that before Su Yang's mother left this world, she had left a message for him on the phone. A gentle female voice. She said, "Yang Yang, I'm so sorry. Mom seems to lack the courage to adapt to a world without your dad. Your dad and I were childhood sweethearts. You don't know, he's been attached to me since he was little. So, I'm afraid your dad might still be foolishly standing at the crossroads waiting for me over there, and I can't bear to make him wait too long. Forgive Mom, I want to go over there and keep him company. Also, please don't take things to heart. You didn't do anything wrong, you're still Mom's good child, but Mom isn't a good mom. I have to go now. You must take good care of yourself. Don't get angry for no reason. It's not good for your health. Yang Yang, both Dad and Mom love you very much, so don't blame yourself." After listening, I cried out in pain for everything Su Yang had gone through and also for his mother's love for him. Su Yang had been listening quietly at first, but then he became flustered and started comforting me instead. "What are you crying for? I haven't even cried." I looked up, and I saw tears in Su Yang's eyes too. That day, the sunlight delicately shone on the big tree, making every inch of pattern on the branches and leaves exceptionally clear. That day, Su Yang's eyes were red, and he held my hand very tightly. That day, I stood on tiptoe and stroked his hair, little by little, without saying a word. But I knew that at this moment, he had truly reconciled with himself. That day, the sky was very blue, and it didn't rain. Su Yang returned to school, once again becoming that unrivaled school tyrant. He was even more arrogant than before. It could be said that now, he was invulnerable. The day after Su Yang returned to school, Chenzai didn't come to school. The teacher said she had requested leave. But a week later, a major incident occurred. The news reported, a third-year high school female student from No. 1 middle school, Chenzai, personally murdered her stepfather. Ultimately, Chenzai's younger brother was sent to an orphanage, and Chenzai was imprisoned. The news stated that she had surrendered herself. When Su Yang heard about this, he merely said indifferently, "That man deserved to die." As for Chenzai, he made no comment whatsoever. People at school heard about this and all sighed. How could this be? She was clearly such a quiet girl. They said, "It's truly unbelievable. A girl who usually talks so little could be so heartless as to kill her stepfather. It's terrifying." For a time, the words they had once directed at Su Yang seemed to completely fall upon Chenzai instead. It was as if everyone stood on a moral high ground to judge her. This was too cruel for Chenzai. "I don't like her, but, as she said, we haven't experienced what she has, so how can we understand her situation?" Nothing is unimaginable. When a person is pushed to a dead end, there's nothing they can't do. There are far too many things in the world more terrifying than death. But all the incomprehensible malice we encounter in this world serves to remind us not to become such people. Therefore, when we retaliate, we must do it beautifully. When we act, we can strive to be upright. When one day you can no longer hold on, being a little selfish doesn't seem to matter. I didn't expect Chenzai to send me something. When I received the package she sent me from the postman a week later, I was even more surprised. It was a very beautiful box. I opened it, and inside was a perfectly preserved love letter. This was the love letter Su Yang wrote to me in his senior year of high school. I had preserved it very well and had never opened it. I opened it and read from beginning to end. Su Yang's naive yet fervent love once again made my heart flutter. At the end of the love letter, Su Yang's name was signed. It was clear that it was written very solemnly, but the handwriting was truly bad, just as bad as in his previous life. I looked at it and then smiled. I had originally thought that the love letter, which once represented a young boy's fervent love, would forever remain unknown, but after many twists and turns, although a bit late, it finally still arrived by my side. When I went to university, I still attended the same school as in my previous life, but Su Yang was caught by his grandfather and brought back to inherit the company. On the first day of school, to assert his ownership, Su Yang made a high-profile statement by driving me directly to the dormitory. If I hadn't stopped him, he would have insisted on going into my dorm to show off. As a result, on the first day of school, everyone at school knew that I had a boyfriend who owned a big company. Don't even mention it, I was especially proud. During university, I took Su Yang home to meet my parents. To meet my parents, he specifically cut his hair into a buzz cut. According to him, elders prefer such neat hairstyles. But with the changed hairstyle, he looked really fierce. The day he came to my house, he was dressed very formally. The first time he saw my father, he got nervous and blurted out, "Dad." This made my father so angry he blew his beard and glared, disliking him immensely. But Su Yang, carefree and thick-skinned, just smiled, charming my mother into delight. After graduating from university, I still went to Su Corporation, once again becoming Su Yang's special assistant. However, unlike my previous life in this life, any slight stir concerning me at the company would alarm everyone. This was mainly because Su Yang reacted to anything about me in an exaggerated way, like a changed person. The day we got married, Su Yang cried like an idiot. At night, he even had to hug our marriage certificate to sleep. He was afraid it was a dream. Right, actually, I was also afraid this was just a dream of mine. In my previous life, Su Yang died in the ruins saving me. In this life, I must change his outcome. However, the closer it got to the time of the earthquake, the more uneasy I became. There was still a huge unknown in our future. I had been reborn, I didn't have any special abilities, and I didn't know if I could forcefully change fate. I didn't know if, by preventing Su Yang from going to a city, fate would find another reason for him to go there, just to stay on its track. This kind of unease was very difficult for me to share with others. I could only bottle it up alone. Therefore, Su Yang and I didn't have a baby because I wasn't sure if Su Yang could safely pass his 27th year. If he still walked the exact same path as in the previous life, then I probably wouldn't have the courage to live in a world without him. I am very timid and cannot bear such loneliness. Seeing the news that day, I called Su Yang, but the call didn't go through, and the unease in my heart rose again. Su Yang would never not answer my calls. So I quickly dialed his best friend's number, and amidst his stammering, I still got news of Su Yang. He had gone to City A for a very important project, but such a project had never appeared in my previous life. My phone slipped from my hand, and I sat powerlessly on the ground. My heart was filled with a sense of helplessness. Why did he still go there? Why didn't he listen to me? If Su Yang's life was still the same as in my previous life, then what was the meaning of my rebirth? I didn't dare to imagine. Why can't I change anything? What should happen is still happening, only I myself have escaped. No, I need to go and see the situation with my own eyes to know. I don't believe it. I don't believe Su Yang's outcome will still be the same as in my previous life. If it's the same, why did God let me be reborn? I stumbled to my feet and rushed towards City A, my hands trembling violently as I drove. By the time I sped to City A, my car was almost wrecked from hitting things on the road, and the scene was filled with cries and screams. I didn't know how to find Su Yang. I just blindly got out of the car and ran to the ruins where I was buried in my previous life, squatted down, and started clearing stones with my bare hands, calling out Su Yang's name repeatedly, but no one answered. Suddenly, Yuhi! Someone called my name. It was Su Yang. Before I could turn around, Su Yang quickly ran over, frowned, and pulled my hand. "Why did you come here? There's just been an earthquake here. What if there are aftershocks? How dangerous." Look at your hand, it's bleeding. Su Yang's touch was so clear that I gradually came back to my senses, opened my mouth many times, and finally managed to speak. Didn't I tell you not to come? Why didn't you listen to me? What if something happened to you? What would I do? Seeing me so angry, Su Yang immediately panicked, pulled my hand over and rubbed it against his face. Look, I'm fine, baby, I'm fine, and I'm not hurt, feel me. I was still terrified. What if something happened? Do you know how you died in your previous life? Su Yang lowered his head and kissed my injured hand, gently coaxing me. Baby, don't worry, how could I let anything happen to myself? My life is truly precious. If you were outside, how could I allow myself to be trapped inside? Don't worry, I run the fastest. I was even the first one to get out. I don't cling to worldly possessions, so I wouldn't turn back to grab anything. How could I not escape? These words struck me deeply. It was as if I understood everything in an instant. Right, I had always overlooked a problem. How could Su Yang not escape? It turned out that in the previous life, Su Yang wasn't trapped in the ruins and bound to me by fate because he couldn't escape. It was because I was inside, so he chose to turn back. I instantly pulled my hand away, covered my eyes, and cried out in pain. Su Yang had never seen me cry so heartbrokenly. He was frantic, his heart aching intensely, and he clumsily tried to comfort me. Baby, did I make you angry? Don't cry, baby, I was wrong, baby, I was wrong. I'll never disobey you again. You can hit me, okay? Don't cry, it hurts me when you cry. I said nothing, just continued to cry, as if I was finally finding an outlet for the long years of loneliness in my previous life. Su Yang bent down and stroked my hair again and again. Please stop crying, okay? I just want to see you smile. I'm so sorry. So the way to change Su Yang's fate wasn't to stop him, but rather, if I wasn't in a dangerous place, he wouldn't die there either. I cried for a long time that day. Su Yang held me, comforting me little by little. After crying for so long, I fell asleep. In my dream, I saw images I had never seen in either my previous life or this one. One day in my first year of high school, in an inconspicuous corner, the young man held a love letter and practiced hello countless times against the wall. He shed all his aggression, lowering his entire posture. You see, he also yearned to be loved. Thank you for allowing me to reperceive this world, for making my journey to this human realm not in vain, and for bestowing upon me light thousands upon thousands of feet in the darkness. End of main text. Extra story, Chenzai's chapter. When Su Yang once again entered class 1, Chenzai was particularly surprised. She looked at Su Yang at the door. Worry flashed in her eyes. Why was he coming to find her at this time? All her classmates were here. If she went out now, it would link her to him, and who knows how the rumors would spread. But she hesitated for a moment, then still decided to go out. She knew Su Yang had a bad temper. If she made him wait too long, he would definitely get angry, and then he would lose his temper at her in front of everyone, making her look even worse. Therefore, she stood up, carrying her inexplicable sense of vanity. But Su Yang suddenly took a step, leaving the classroom door and walking towards the window by the corridor. Finally, he stopped by the window at Wu He's seat. He wasn't here to find her. He was here to find Wu He. But how could someone as arrogant as him still come to find Wu He? She had clearly said such unpleasant things to him last time. She still remembered his terrifying expression after hearing them, so gloomy it was as if he wanted to kill someone. Even now, remembering it filled her heart with a sense of fear. However, Su Yang came to find Wu He again. She thought that after the few words she had spoken to Su Yang, things should be different, but it was difficult for Su Yang to even remember her. Wu He was wearing a blue school uniform, her beautiful, smooth, long hair draped softly, her face small, a standard oval face, very well behaved. But Chenzai's appearance was too ordinary, her figure dry and thin, clearly underdeveloped. Chenzai's gaze dropped. She saw Wu He's feet wearing a pair of very pretty small white shoes, very clean. And Wu He was just like her small white shoes, especially clean, so clean it made Chenzai feel ashamed. She envied Wu He's life, yet longed to become her. Wu He could succeed at anything. She could easily get first place in her grade. As for Chenzai, she had to work very hard just to keep up with the pace of class 1. Wu He spoke delicately and softly, making her very popular with everyone in the class. And she was a particularly inconspicuous existence. She felt that fate had never taken care of her. Her mother ran off with someone, and her stepfather took out all his anger on her and her younger brother. She wanted to run, but where could she go if she ran? And what about her younger brother? She couldn't report it to the police. That beast had taken her nude photos to threaten her. Only in this place, at least, could she be a little closer to Su Yang. She really liked Su Yang. He was her light, struggling painfully in the darkness. She would never forget that day when she wore a dress given by a neighbor. It was a dress a child no longer needed, but for her, it was a white dress she had never owned before. And when she joyfully wore it out, she was surrounded by the children from the rental house next door. The malice of youth could sometimes crush a person. They knew the dress she was wearing was someone else's unwanted one. They pointed at her and called her dirty. It was an endless bullying session. She was pushed to the ground and her dress got very dirty. Chenzai held back her tears, refusing to let them fall. She absolutely wouldn't cry in front of them. Crying meant losing. But at that moment, Su Yang and his friends rode their motorcycles past there, then stopped beside her. Su Yang that day was like an angel. He took off his helmet and spoke indifferently to the group of middle school students. "While I still have patience, scram." His reputation was particularly big. Students from nearby schools all knew him. The middle school students fled in a panic, while Su Yang glanced at her, then kicked the motorcycle of the person next to him. "Clothes." That person immediately complied, taking off his clothes and throwing them to her. And that dirty white dress, she carefully washed it clean and put it away. On this path of loving Su Yang, she was self-abasing, stubborn, and had done too many wrong things. Wu He had once extended a hand to her, but she gritted her teeth and refused. What to do now? She was already used to living in the mud, but she had clearly struggled countless times. When she plunged the knife through her stepfather's sleeping body, she wasn't scared at all. Killing him was something she had wanted to do for a long time. Every time he got drunk and beat her, every time he handed her over to his creditors, she wanted to kill him. Her stepfather's blood flowed all over the floor. Chenzai ran over and covered her younger brother's eyes. She had killed her own stepfather. Afterwards, she took a bath, put on her most beautiful clothes, that pure white dress, and went to the police station to turn herself in. She thought it was just too difficult for her to simply live on. The day she was handcuffed, she was very calm. Her eyes kept looking at the door until the very end. The person she liked never came to see her. Even if it was to see her make a fool of herself, he didn't come. She smiled as she walked into the prison, thinking to herself, how good everything is truly just her own. To keep you or to let you go, she could do neither. Everyone's life has cracks. But morning stream, she couldn't wait for her own light. Extra story, Su Yang's chapter. The first time Su Yang met Yu He had just finished his mother's funeral. That day, rain fell during the funeral, a continuous drizzle, making the air feel cold. He walked out of the house in a black suit, alone on the street, smoking a cigarette. It was his first time smoking, and it was really choking. A pink umbrella was held over his head. Su Yang looked up. "Hello, didn't you bring an umbrella? Where are you going? I can give you a ride." The voice was refined and soft. She was a very well-behaved girl. Su Yang glanced at her, said nothing, and continued walking forward. He didn't even know where he wanted to go, but the girl beside him held the umbrella for him, accompanied him all the way, and didn't say a word. Su Yang lowered his eyes to look at her. Rainwater was trickling down her neck and into her clothes. Her skin was so white and her shoulders were soaked, yet the umbrella was tilted towards him. She was very short, so she was holding it with great effort, but she didn't utter a single complaint, not a hint of impatience. Su Yang scoffed, thinking, damn, so stupid for a stranger. But inexplicably he said, "I'm here." The girl smiled at him, her eyes full of tenderness. "Okay, then I'll see you off here. Don't be sad, those who love you don't want you to be sad." With that, she turned and left. Su Yang watched the girl's retreating figure, small and delicate, yet somehow giving him inexplicable strength. Later, Su Yang found out that her name was Yu He, and she was in the same grade as him. From then on, starting in junior high, he yearned to possess her. But he didn't rashly disturb her. She was so good, how could she be involved with him? He just quietly observed her. The first time Yu He actively spoke to him, Su Yang was very annoyed. She had seen him fighting. The person with Su Yang asked, You don't like that little classmate, do you?" Su Yang paused at the question, then thought of Yu He's smile from earlier, too well-behaved. It wasn't until the cigarette butt burned his hand that he stubbornly said, "I don't like that kind." However, that night, as Su Yang lay in bed, the soft touch of a girl's neck, which his fingers had grasped earlier in the day, seemed even clearer. He stroked his fingers, and in his mind, the image of the girl's fair neck kept appearing. So white, so tender, a pinch would leave a red mark. Su Yang was truly annoyed in his heart, his whole body was on fire. This damn thought, how many times has it been today? He wondered. He casually glanced at his lower body, full of vigor, and cursed under his breath. What a damn disgrace. I refuse to believe it, I can't quit. But from the second year of junior high until now, he had been addicted to woohee. Su Yang lit a cigarette, the metal lighter gleaming coldly in the dark night. He leaned against the balcony railing, one hand holding the cigarette, the other playing with the lighter, looking through the smoke at the distant single-story house. Woohee's house was right there, clearly not far away, yet there was an insurmountable difference between them. Woohee's place was among the myriad lights of homes, and just looking at it, he could feel warmth. His apartment, however, was so cold it lacked any trace of human warmth. Su Yang couldn't understand why Woohee had actively approached him today. She had clearly said that she and he were not on the same path, that she hated him, so he didn't want to make a fool of himself. He recalled his attitude towards her today. His tone wasn't gentle, and he used vulgar language. She must hate him even more now. The next time she saw him, she would definitely take a detour. From now on, there would be no more connection, which was for the best. He didn't want to be pathetic again. In the quiet of the night, his voice was very soft. Good student, it's best not to provoke me again. Stay far away from me, otherwise I really won't be able to control myself. The cigarette burned down very quickly, almost scorching his fingers. Su Yang knew he should let go, but he stubbornly waited for it to burn out completely, until a clear pain shot through his hand. Only then did he toss the cigarette butt into the trash can. The next day, when Su Yang saw Woohee holding a lunchbox in the classroom, an incredible thought arose in his mind. It couldn't be her, could it? She couldn't possibly be bringing him breakfast. He quickly walked to his seat, circling her closer than ever before. She really was there to bring him breakfast. But what she brought was eggs, and he was allergic to eggs. So, was he destined to be unable to enjoy it? To hell with being unable to enjoy it. Eggs, Su Yang ate them all cleanly. The next morning, unusually, he arrived at school before dawn. Su Yang, wearing a helmet and riding his red and black Aprilia, rode against the wind. As he reached the school gate, he thought with great frustration, he simply couldn't control himself. He also felt inexplicable, even having properly worn his school uniform and washed his hair before leaving. When Su Yang arrived at school, the main gate of number 1 middle school hadn't opened yet. He originally intended to climb over the wall, but then he thought about it again. Forget it, why climb a wall? Students should enter through the main gate. He kicked the school gate with his foot, the large iron lock securing the gate, and the chains rattled loudly from his kicks. Hearing the commotion, the security guard was scared, thinking some lunatic had come to rob them before dawn, taking advantage of the fact that there were few people around. The security guard, trembling, put on his clothes and came out to see. Heaven knew how astonished he was when he clearly saw Su Yang standing outside the gate. What was this young master of the Su family up to now? He was just a small security guard. He couldn't resist powerful authority. The security guard in front was still in a daze, showing no initiative to open the gate for him. Su Yang was a bit impatient. He kicked the gate again. The clanging of the chains startled the security guard, who quickly opened the door. Su Yang simply nodded calmly and strode towards the classroom. He didn't turn on the lights when he entered the classroom, just sat down at his desk, holding the pink lunchbox he had given him yesterday, which contained eggs. He had washed it many times. Whenever he had nothing to do at home, he would wash it again. It was exceptionally clean, so much so that he could clearly see his reflection inside. Su Yang sighed, "Damn it, I really feel like I'm sick." He sat there until 7 a.m. It was a March morning, and the wind was still very cold. Su Yang wrapped his clothes tighter. Damn, it's really fucking cold. He should still be sleeping in bed right now, but what if he came to bring him breakfast again today? He knew she genuinely looked down on people like him, but what could he do? He just couldn't control himself from wanting to get close to her. As long as she gave him a little sweetness, all his principles would crumble. When he placed the lunchbox and thermos on Su Yang's desk, she opened them for him. Su Yang looked at the pair of hands that opened the lids for him. They were so fair and tender, truly beautiful. He watched, his throat feeling itchy. He walked to the door with her backpack, then turned around and told him her name was Yuhi, Yu as in feather, he as in rice sprout. She said it very seriously, but how could he not know her name? On countless nights, he had involuntarily repeated her name. The two characters, Yoo-hee, had long been etched into his bones, when she, in front of so many people, held the cup and drank the water he had filled for her. He knew, he was finished, all his armor was shattered by the blows. What to do now? He still liked her very much, truly very much. She didn't despise him. When Chenzai appeared before him once again, he had been in a daze for a long time. Her existence was a reminder to him of what had happened before. He had rejected him, and he couldn't let that go. In his first year of high school, he gave Chenzai the several long pages of a love letter he had written for the first time, asking her to make sure it reached Yoo-hee's hands. He felt at the time that writing a love letter, such a foolish thing, he would absolutely never do a second time. He didn't want Yoo-hee to agree to him immediately. He had self-awareness, he knew how far apart they were. He just wanted to get to know her first, to let her know he existed. However, what he waited for was a bucket of cold water over his head, making him feel that all his overnight nervousness was a goddamn joke. He treated his advances as worthless, and he hadn't expected himself to be so inferior. And Chenzai, word for word, conveyed exactly what Yoo-hee had said about him. God knows how angry he was when he heard her say that Yoo-hee felt dirty just by glancing at him, almost unable to suppress his true nature. But then he felt that Yoo-hee was right. How could someone like him deserve to live in this world? If Yoo-hee thought that, his mother must have thought the same, perhaps even cursing him in her last moments before death. They all thought that. He thought, Yoo-hee was so pure, he shouldn't dirty her eyes. However, a teenager's love is so intense, he couldn't stop his desire to get close to her. Repeating her name late at night, he himself felt how wicked he was. Thankfully, Yoo-hee didn't know. This was the only light he yearned for in this world. He wanted to obtain it very much. He would never forget that day when it rained heavily. That downpour only happened on that one day. It was the day she actively reached out to him. He thought he would probably never forget the pity in Chenzai's eyes after she finished conveying Yoo-hee's words to him. Ah, who the hell wanted her pity? She didn't know that every time he secretly looked at her, he was seriously restraining his love. When everyone told him it wouldn't work out, he covered his ears and continued to like her. The process of obtaining a rose will inherently cut one's hand, but the rose is so beautiful. As long as the rose is willing, it doesn't matter if it pierces his hand. He will not let go. This time, he has already retreated many steps. It was Rain Harmony herself who actively stepped forward. If he retreats again, he will definitely regret it for the rest of his life. He will not retreat again. Extra, Su Yang's past life chapter actually, no matter how many times I come back, I feel lucky that we can meet again. Perhaps this is just a one-sided reunion, and you don't even know me. I've found that my temper is getting worse and worse. The company is growing bigger and bigger, and the prospects for Su Corporation are getting better and better, but I'm becoming more and more irritable. It's as if everyone in the company fears me, even those antiques are afraid of me, yet I don't seem satisfied. I know that the source of all these emotions is because I feel you can't see the current me. I just want you to know that I'm very powerful now, that perhaps there isn't such a big gap between us, and that I'm no longer as bad as you thought. It's funny to say, but I'm clearly not a persistent person. I don't think I'm long-lasting in my affections, and my enthusiasm for things lasts only 3 minutes. Yet I've liked you for so long, so much so that for all these years, I'm the only one struggling in my memories. You are too beautiful. I can't control my affection for you. The desire to drag you into the darkness is so intense, you don't know, it's almost overflowing. But the stubborn me refuses to admit it, as if it's to preserve my last bit of dignity. Many of them say I have a hard life, that everyone who loved me has died, but I'm still alive. They want me to die so badly, they want to divide the money and power in my hands. But what's mine is mine. They have no choice but to continue to humble themselves before me, to continue to shamelessly flatter me. I have no women by my side, and they think they can find this loophole to catch my eye, so they find all sorts of so-called seductive beauties to tempt me. But no matter how little they wear, I can remain indifferent. They all secretly say I'm asexual. Ah, how could I be asexual? This old man is not asexual at all. Only I know how much of a beast I am. None of them are you, and I don't even want to look at them. They are still fighting me, but they can't win. They think I'm not afraid of death, so I have no weakness. But actually, I truly cherish my life because you are one of the few thoughts I have in this world. If you wanted it, I could even give you my life. I have so many things to do, a bit too much to handle, so I plan to recruit a special assistant. But I didn't take this matter to heart. I handed it over to Song Jia-woo to handle. I told him I needed someone capable. I only wanted a capable assistant. I don't keep useless people. I never thought you would apply for the position. How could you come to be my assistant? You are truly outstanding. So when I met you, I was unprepared and I was completely dissatisfied. That wasn't my best state. I hadn't even had time to properly compose myself and you appeared. To be honest, I was very flustered. This was much more nerve-wracking than signing several $100 million projects. I wanted to meet you with my best side. But your appearance was too sudden, just like when you first occupied my heart, catching me completely off guard. That day, my temper was terrible. I had just lost my temper with my subordinates, feeling incredibly irritable, and then you were pushed in. I didn't know it was you. I thought it was some clueless employee disturbing me while I was working, feeling like they had a death wish. The anger I had just suppressed flared up again. But as soon as I looked up and saw you, you don't know, I almost couldn't stop my angry expression, but surprise filled my brain. I even thought I was dreaming. I heard you greet me. You said your name was Yuhi, that you were the newly assigned assistant, my special assistant. My heart suddenly leaped, beating very fast, one beat after another, as if a heart that had been silent for a long time suddenly came back to life, instantly filled with vitality. In that moment, I was absolutely certain. I still liked you. I had always wanted to have you, Yuhi, but I also knew that I am selfish and cruel. I don't deserve the kind you because I won't feel sympathy or be moved by any misfortune. That's how I climbed up. Only the weak need to be pitied. No one taught me kindness, but if you like it, I am willing to learn. On one hand, I want to cherish you well. I want to lay everything I have before you. On the other hand, I'm afraid you won't care about anything I offer. My damned pride makes me cowardly hide my desires very deeply. You must think I'm very contradictory, right? I also feel very contradictory, so contradictory that I don't know what to do. Therefore, every single night, I would regret why I said those words today in that manner, when there were clearly gentler ways to express myself. I regretted why my tone when speaking to you was like that, when it clearly didn't have to be harsh. I felt I wasn't good to you at all. After we finally met again, I still bullied you like that. I hoped you could get angry at me, but you never complained about me, nor did you ever get angry, as if you didn't care. And your indifference towards me made me feel extremely angry, so I wasn't good to you either. At that time, I thought we still had a very long time. I would always cling to you and would absolutely never let go. Therefore, I didn't properly learn how to love someone, how to express my affection to a girl. But I know, I love you more than my own life, but in front of you, I think I will probably always be self-conscious. I loved you with self-consciousness, yet I didn't dare to let you know. When the earthquake came, for the first time, I doubted that heaven truly disliked me. It always wanted to push my life to a dead end. My mind was filled with one thought: you absolutely cannot be harmed. But fortunately, I ran fast and shielded you with my body. This time, I was very satisfied. I felt I protected you very well. When I clearly knew that I might die, regret surged violently. What should I do? I still haven't told you this secret. Su Yang loves you. He loves her very, very much. You still don't know that I met you in our second year of junior high, and when I was just over 10 years old, I vowed to win you over. In the ruins, I clearly felt my life slipping away. My heart panicked as I looked at your face. Fortunately, your body in my arms was still warm, not cold at all. I had originally intended to delicately caress your face and brows, stroke your hair, and remember every detail about you inch by inch. I even wanted to integrate you into my flesh and bones so that I could never forget you. I don't want to forget you. But when I raised my hand and saw it covered in my fresh blood, I quietly lowered it again. I was ashamed of myself. It was covered in bloodstains. How could it caress your face? I knew you loved cleanliness. I have always disdained men who cry. I felt that tears were merely an excuse for weakness, and crying couldn't solve any problems. But in the last moments of my life, I held you tightly, and I cried so sadly. Oh me, allow myself to be weak. I didn't tell you that story of mine. I truly feel so regretful. It ultimately became my unrequited love. In missing you every single day and night, I poured out my solitary courage. However, I also thought, it's better that you don't know. In the future, you can live well. I don't wish you to have even a little bit of guilt. Without a scoundrel like me in your life, you will be much better off. At least no one will causelessly pick on you again. I think I'm just a little unwilling. The earthquake came fiercely and violently, news spreading throughout city. Everyone was mourning and praying for the victims. Harmony Wu was one of them. She was mourning her direct superior, Director Su, who had saved her life. How would the world later speak of the death of the chairman of the Su group in the earthquake? They said that when he was found, he was holding an unconscious girl in his arms. They said that this girl was very well protected by him, because even under such ruins, her clothes were still clean and her face was still fair. They said that he must have loved this girl very much, because when medical personnel tried to pry open his hands to carry the girl out, they found that even in death, he was still holding on very tightly. They said that those hands that refused to let go were expressing his unwillingness and his cherish for this girl. He once hoped she would love him, yet feared she couldn't bear his deep affection. In those days without sunlight, he once used his wholehearted, solitary love to prolong his own life. And all of this, Harmony Wu did not know. We appreciate you listening. Please give us a like and subscribe.